It should come to no surprise that this series got off with a rocky start with the Legacy of Goku.
Oh my god.
In spite of this, the game's sequel was able to vastly improve upon the terrible performance of the first installment, to the point that many people consider the Legacy of Goku 2 to be a Game Boy Advance classic. Due to the overwhelmingly positive response, it was also distributed in Japan. This is the first and only Dragon Ball Z video game to be produced in the United States and then exported to Japan. Now I have a confession to make. It wasn't until quite recently that I found out that Buu's Fury is actually the sequel to the Legacy of Goku 2. Mostly due to the fact that it dropped the Legacy of Goku moniker. Given that the Legacy of Goku 2 performed so well, I don't really understand why they decided to drop the title. Yeah, the focus isn't entirely on Goku for this entry, but it was like that for the second game too. In fact, he was in it even less. In any case, at least there is no misunderstanding about which story arc this game will cover. Because this game follows the same story arc as the Majin Buu saga, which is my least favourite Dragon Ball Z saga, I'm wondering if it's going to drag the game down a bit. Well, I guess there's only one way to find out. Buu Saga, or like the Buu Saga.
Why are you the way that you are?
Dragon Ball Z Buu's Fury was released for the Game Boy Advance in 2004. It is the third and final installment in the Legacy of Goku series. It was re-released in 2006 as part of a Game Boy Advance 2-pack that had both Buu's Fury and Dragon Ball GT transformations on the same cartridge, even though Dragon Ball GT Transformation is not the sequel to Buu's Fury. Trust me, I checked. But they are both developed by Webfoot Technologies. I guess they didn't want to pair it with Taiketsu, because they actually wanted to sell some copies.
Hello. Yeah, what the fuck?
Like all the other games in the series, Buu's Fury is an action-adventure game with RPG elements. The game opens up with a recap of the end of the Legacy of Goku 2. In a nutshell, Gohan reaches Super Saiyan 2 while fighting Cell, but he gets too confident and Goku has to teleport the inflated Cell to King Kai's planet.
Hey King Kai, what should I do with Cell?
Where they all explode and die. Cell, however, survives and is eventually defeated by Gohan. The Z Fighters then collect the 7 Dragon Balls and try to wish Goku back to life, but he refuses because he believes that doing so would put Earth in danger. Despite this terrible loss, the world was finally at peace. Or was it? Fuck if I know. Goku, Bubbles, Gregory and King Kai are on the Snake Way. Goku wants to go to Grand Kai's planet to meet the fighters there. The group needs to catch a plane to get to the Grand Kai's planet, and they need to return to King Yema's palace to get to that plane. They soon arrive on the Grand Kai planet, where the game teaches the player the game's mechanics. There are fighters in the area who can teach us how to use the controls. Buu's Fury functions similarly to the previous entry. You can sprint around attacking enemies with punches and ki blasts, but this time you can also block incoming blows. Yay! This is one of the features I hoped they would include, and they did, so I'm pleased with this change. It assists in coping with the issue of becoming stun locked in the midst of a barrage of attacks. While it did not occur frequently, it did occur and was inconvenient as you had no way of dealing with it. The HUD hasn't changed. We still have the red bar indicating our health, the green bar representing ki, and the blue bar representing our experience. When we accumulate enough experience, the bar will fill and the character we are playing as will level up. Unlike the previous 2 titles, every time a character levels up, we gain 3 skill points that we can use to improve our stats. There is strength, power and endurance that can be increased in any way you choose. Reaching certain levels will also increase a character's ki attacks. For example, Goku's Kamehameha will start at level 1 and has a max level of 3. As it gets higher in level, the beam will widen and become stronger. Instant transmission is one of the new techniques that we now have access to, but Goku is the only one who can utilize it. It enables us to teleport to an enemy or to an object like buttons and chess. He will, however, instantaneously teleport back, which, to be honest, is a little underwhelming. I understand why it works this way. Having a character who can move anywhere would break the levels. However, it would have been fascinating to see levels constructed around this concept. Once we have completed this little tutorial area, we are entered into a tournament held by the Grand Kai to determine who is the strongest, Goku or Pikkon. Pikkon is a strong fighter who was sent to HFIL
home for infinite losers.
to take out Frieza and Cell, who are causing trouble. In the anime, Goku actually went with Pikkon to help with this task, but here it's just explained in a text box that Pikkon went and did it himself. Okay, I honestly don't have much of an issue with this because it is just filler, so. At the tournament, we have to fight through various fighters before making it to the final round. This portion is pretty easy and sort of dull. I think it goes on just a little bit too long. There are a lot of unskippable moments to watch through and they aren't all that intriguing. However, there are a few unique characters that never appear again. It seems to be a bit of a waste, but I admire the effort put forth by the designers. We make it to the final round against Pikkon, and halfway through the fight we unlock Goku's Super Saiyan form. The yellow bar on our HUD is the cooldown for the transformations. Whenever it is full, we can transform. The transformations work slightly differently than in the Legacy of Goku 2. When a character turns Super Saiyan, instead of the form consuming the ki gauge, it is replaced with another gauge, and once this gauge is drained, the character will revert back. This is a great improvement, as you don't have to worry about losing all of your ki from transforming. Turning Super Saiyan is almost always worth it. You hit harder, better, faster and stronger. With the new way the ki gauge works, there's pretty much no downside to turning Super Saiyan. The fight between Goku and Pikkon ends in a draw as they both hit the ceiling of the arena at the same time, counting as a ring out. Even though they are both disqualified, the Grand Kai promises that he will still give them private lessons in 200 to 300 years. And that concludes the opening to Buu's Fury. Compared to the Legacy of Goku 2, this opening is a bit meh. It does a decent job of explaining the mechanics to the player, however it is rather long. It also doesn't contribute anything to the larger narrative. I'm pretty sure the only reason they chose this filler arc to begin with is to tie into a movie that the game will briefly cover later on. So was sacrificing a stronger opening worth it for this inclusion? No. 7 years have passed since Cell was defeated. Gohan, who is now 17, has stopped training to focus on his studies. His mum believes that he must attend Orange Star High School in order to achieve his academic potential, and so she has made the decision to send him there. When we get to Hercule City, we have time to explore before class begins. Zenny, the currency of this universe, is dropped by slain enemies. We can go into a shop and buy and sell items and equipment. Items are nothing new to this series. There are two types of items, those that can be used by a character and those that are relevant to the story. When the game requires them, the story items are used automatically, but the other items are used as consumables. Food restores a character's health to varying degrees, whilst drinks restore their ki. Consumables can be utilised at any moment, allowing you to use them like in Breath of the Wild and simply gorge yourself throughout a fight. There are a few special consumables, such as the iconic senzu beans that will completely restore health and ki, holy water which boosts the character's stats for 30 seconds, while the Lazarus crystal, as the name suggests, will return you back to life after dying in battle with a small amount of health. The inclusion of equipment is a new feature. Equipment, like consumables, can be purchased from the shops, obtained in chests or dropped by enemies. The latter is probably how you'll get most of your gear. They don't drop all that often, but you'll be fighting so many enemies throughout the game that you'd have to go out of your way not to pick them up. Speaking of picking up items, let me just have a little rant about it. Okay, so the game is laid out into different screens that you move through. Moving to a new screen will reset the previous screen, so all of the enemies will respawn. All of the items and zenny they dropped will disappear if you don't pick them up, which is great for grinding, but bloody annoying when you're trying to pick up items. When an enemy drops an item, you don't just get it automatically. you have to walk over to it and pick it up, which is fine, but really it's not fine, because the item will frequently land near the end of the screen. So you go to pick it up and then the screen will transition to the next before you can reach it, and then it despawns. Okay, rant over, but it still remains in my heart. So what exactly does equipment do? In most cases, equipping it to a character will change their stats. Some will only gain, while others will sacrifice one stat to strengthen another. Some items also have special effects, such as the Goku hat, which gives you an extra skill point if you wear it while leveling up. There are level restrictions that must be satisfied in order to equip an item, but this never became an issue during my playthrough. I enjoyed the inclusion of the equipment system. Sort of. Because it does have some drawbacks that I'll go over later. At the very least, the added incentive of item drops makes level grinding more enjoyable. To be honest, I never brought anything from the store, so I have no footage of that. While out adventuring, you find more than enough stuff and equipment, so I never felt the urge to go shopping, essentially making the zenny I collected useless. This chapter covers Gohan's challenges with balancing his school life and his crime fighting life. He witnesses a bank robbery on his first day of high school, and changes into a Super Saiyan to stop them. As a result, he is given the title Gold Fighter. At school he meets Videl, Hercule's daughter, who genuinely fights trouble in the city. She is immediately suspicious of Gohan and thinks he may be the Gold Fighter, because he resembles the hero, because he is. Afraid of being discovered, Gohan requests that Bulma create a disguise for him to wear while fighting.
Who are you?
I am the unmitigated champion of justice, who tolerates no evil. Great Saiyaman at your service.
I'd say those 2 hours of practice last night just paid off.
We then play out various scenarios fighting crime around Hercule City. It really feels like this section should have been the tutorial. It's not very challenging and does drag on a bit. I really did enjoy this arc in the anime, as it was more of a slice of life kind of setup with a more humorous tone. It was a nice break, especially if you watched it straight after the intensity of the conclusion of the Cell Saga. Unfortunately, a lot of the charm from this arc is gone due to the delivery. A lot of the humour from this section is just lost in the dialogue boxes. Even though a lot of the dialogue is straight up copy-pasted from the Funimation dub, it lacks the good timing and delivery, so it just comes across very flat. The developers were limited by the Game Boy Advance's capabilities, and I'm not really sure how they could have mitigated this issue. It's just one of those snags that comes along when adapting one medium to another. Videl eventually finds out Gohan's true identity by tricking him into confessing.
See you at school. Farewell, citizen.
She agrees to keep it a secret on the condition that Gohan enters the 25th World Martial Arts Tournament. If he refuses, she will tell everyone. Bitch. Cut that. Gohan reluctantly agrees to enter in the tournament. Goku telepathically communicates to Gohan with the help of King Kai. He tells him that he heard about the upcoming tournament and has been given special permission to return to Earth for one day so he can enter. Oh, right. Before it moves on to the next chapter, the game briefly continues the setup for the Fusion Reborn content, with the foreshadowing of the demon Janemba. To prepare for the tournament, Gohan does some training with his little brother Goten. Following Goten through the forest, we must complete a little mini-game where he throws rocks at us, and I'm really bad at it. No surprises there. All you have to do is move around the screen until the game decides you have dodged enough. Goten then reveals that he can turn Super Saiyan, and they continue training. Meanwhile, Vegeta is training in his gravity chamber in order to prepare for his fight against Goku during the tournament. Trunks is also in there with him, but is struggling to move around due to the high gravity. He then reveals that he too can turn Super Saiyan. I can't help but feel that the Super Saiyan transformation has become extremely devalued in the Buu saga. Now this isn't the game's fault, as it is just following the saga's story, but that doesn't mean I won't complain about it. Surprised by this revelation, Vegeta then challenges Trunks to punch him. If he manages to do so, then he will take him to the park. This section annoyed the hell out of me. I couldn't figure out how to hit Vegeta and he would just jump away every time I got close. Plus Trunks keeps reverting back and forth between his base form and Super Saiyan form. It turns out if you just run straight at him, you'll be able to hit him.
Well, I didn't say I wouldn't hit you, now did I, Trunks?
Keeping his promise, Vegeta takes Trunks to the park. It's here that the game teaches us how to switch between characters. It can only be done at a save point, and not all characters will be available at all times. During certain story events, you must play as the designated character. As Trunks, we are free to fly around and do some training if we want to. This is a kind of free roaming section where you can go off exploring the world map, but there is a huge issue with this that I'm going to go over a little bit later on in the video. For now we head to Capsule Corp to board the aircraft with the other Z fighters. To help hide all of their identities, but mainly Gohan's identity, they all agree not to turn Super Saiyan in the tournament, even though Gohan doesn't wear anything over his head or face during the entire time he's at the tournament. Whoops. At the gates to the tournament, the Z fighters meet up with Goku. Goten gets to meet his father for the first time in his life, which was a really cute scene in the anime, but not so much here. I find it weird that Goku would get a special pass to come back to Earth for a day to enter a tournament, but not be there when his son was born. Well, Goku has always been a bad dad, so I'm probably just expecting too much. As everyone registers, Trunks discovers that he and Goten will be put in the new Junior Division tournament because they are under 15, and he ain't happy about it. Gohan, Videl, Goku, Android 18, Krillin, Piccolo and Vegeta all qualify to enter the finals of the tournament after scoring high on the punch machine. In the prep room, Goku and the others meet an unusual pair of beings who go by the names Shin and Kibito. Piccolo has an odd feeling about the two right away. Piccolo remarks as they leave that he has a bad feeling about them and that they are strong, to which Goku agrees. The tournament begins with the Junior Division first, and then the Adult Division. Goten and Trunks, who are in the Junior Division, easily defeat their opponents, and I do mean easily. You're basically just wailing on these little kids that have no chance of fighting back. There is one kid with a Karen for a mum that we beat the shit out of. She will be slightly important later, but not that important. Of course the final round is against Goten, and of course we both end up cheating by turning Super Saiyan. But if we both cheated, does it really count as cheating? Yes. Then Trunks is given a special chance to fight Hercule. The Adult Division commences with Krillin easily defeating Pintar. Piccolo is matched against the mysterious Shin, who reveals his true identity. Piccolo then withdraws from the match. Shin then reveals himself to the others as he is actually the Supreme Kai. Videl steps up to fight against the roided out how the fuck do you say that name? Spopovich, that's how you say it. To fight the roided out Spopovich next. This fight is actually the most difficult in the entire game, as crazy as it sounds. Mostly because Videl is really weak. Because she is a woman. Cut that. Guarding all the Spopovich's attacks makes this fight way more doable. You can't win, you just have to bring his health down to a certain point. Spopovich brutally beats her, nearly to death. Gohan? I'm just like making up names now. Gohan helps take her to the hospital, much to Hercule's dismay, when he finds out that he is Videl's boyfriend. I don't know, does he know that they're boyfriend and girlfriend at this point? I can't remember. Was that like that in the anime? I don't remember, I can't remember. It doesn't matter. Gohan has Goku fly to Korans to get Videl a sensu bean, which seems to be the game's way of allowing you to do a little bit of free roaming before continuing the linear story progression. Because when you are in these segments, you cannot leave until the scenarios play out. But the game does provide plenty of breaks like this, which is good as there are a lot of text boxes to read through, and sometimes you just want to go fight some shit. You know what I mean? You get it? You're with the program? I'm not. Where am I? Back at the tournament, Gohan then steps into the ring against Kibito, who demands that he transform into a Super Saiyan. Gohan agrees and then informs him that he would rather take it to the next level and turns into a Super Saiyan 2. Upon doing this, Gohan is attacked by Spopovich and Yamu, who proceed to drain his energy and then fly off. Kibito stays behind to treat Gohan while the Supreme Kai and others pursue them. Kibito and Gohan follow the others after he has been fully recovered. On the way to their destination, Kibito provides Gohan and us an exposition dump on what is going on. They needed to use Yamu and Spopovich to find the wizard Babidi's location. The wizard recruits his minions by utilizing his magical power to seek out people from all over the universe with darkness in their hearts, which is starting to sound a lot like Kingdom Hearts, but we're not going to go into that one. And calling them forth with summoning magic before turning them into his faithful underlings with manipulation sorcery. Babidi is using his underlings to gather a massive amount of energy in order to resurrect Majin Buu, the main antagonist of the game, if that wasn't obvious by the title. Gohan and Kibito catch up with the others and we land down near to where we can fight Babidi. So we journey a little bit forward and we find ourselves blocked behind the dreaded level gates. The feature I disliked the most from the last game has returned, but that doesn't mean that it is as bad as in the last game, right?
Wrong!
Actually, it is even worse here. Like in the last game, you will come across these level gates that will block you from entering a certain area. Some of these areas are optional areas, but many of them gate your progression through the main story. Each character is associated with a different colour. Like this one here is orange, so only Goku can break it open when he is at least level 70. Now this doesn't sound that bad on face value, but there are a few other factors that compound onto this that makes it kind of ruin the fun of the game, at least for me. The max level in Buu's Fury is a whopping 200, which is a lot higher than in the Legacy of Goku 2, with the max level of that game only being 50. When I first discovered this, I was dreading the grinding that I thought the game would expect me to do, because there are multiple characters and they do level up individually, so the grinding can be quite monotonous. However, I must say that this didn't become as much of an issue as I first thought it would, and there are a few reasons for this. The characters start the game at much higher levels, all start at the level 60, so you're not starting from level 1 like in the last game. You also gain levels quite quickly, so the grind doesn't feel as grindy. The only bad side to the quick leveling is that you find yourself constantly having to enter the character screen to adjust your stats, but honestly this is just a bit of a nitpick, as you can just stack up your skill points and do it all in bulk. There is also equipment that you can equip that will help you gain more experience, so the game does give you tools to help with the leveling process, but none of these factors go into alleviating the leveling system's biggest problem. And that problem is that Buu's Fury is way too easy. By the time you reach the level requirements to get through the gates, you are so overpowered. Pair the mandatory level requirements with equipment and you are just destroying everyone with little effort. Some people may think, well, you don't have to use equipment or use the skill points. Okay, so technically that is true, but then you're ignoring half of the game's systems just to fix the difficulty issue. There is almost no challenge in this game. That's why I claimed before that the Videl and Spopovich fight was the hardest in the game, simply because Videl can't be leveled up beforehand and has no equipment. The lack of difficulty takes away from the tension that you're meant to feel during boss fights. They also end really quickly and it makes the game a bit boring in some sections. When Goku does reach level 70, we can climb up to the top of this cliff where we find Yamu and Spopovich meeting with the Demon King Deborah and the Wizard Babidi. Babidi takes the energy the two fighters have brought to him and then kills them. After sensing the Z fighters, Deborah and Babidi plan to lure the Z fighters in to drain them of their energy. Deborah attacks them and quickly kills Kibito and manages to turn Krillin and Piccolo into stone with spit. The Supreme Kai explains that in order to return Krillin and Piccolo back to their normal state, they must defeat Deborah. So the remainders of the group enter Babidi's spaceship. We must be at least level 85 as Gohan to enter, thus fighting our way through the ship is a breeze because we are so powerful. Look at how much damage we're causing to these guys. To get to the ship, we must locate and activate switches that will allow us to open the sealed doors. After we pass through the door, we shall face Pew Pew and kill him in a single blow. Doing the same as before, finding all the switches, we face the next boss, Yakon. He presents a kind of a challenge due to his high defense. He will sometimes seek cover in his cave and deploy small minions to attack you, but they are easily handled. Once he's defeated, we'll have to find the last few switches on the ship in order to face the Demon King Deborah. He's quite easy to defeat, just punching him will stun lock him, and as long as you keep landing punches, he won't be able to do anything. But it appears Deborah is just playing with us.
Sure, Jan.
Before going to see Babidi, Deborah informs the others that they must prepare for the new recruit. But who is the new recruit? It's a mystery for no one. Vegeta scolds Gohan for failing to vanquish Deborah and threatens to blow up the ship. Supreme Kai then discovers that the new recruit mentioned by Deborah is Vegeta. Babidi attempts to enslave Vegeta with his sorcery. The others attempt to assist him in resisting the power, but he eventually succumbs to it and turns into Majin Vegeta, giving him an enormous power increase and pitting him against the others. The group then gets teleported back to the World Martial Arts Tournament. Even under the influence of Babidi's magic, Vegeta is still only focused on fighting Goku. Vegeta was devastated after Goku sacrifices himself in the Cell Saga. His sole purpose in life to defeat Goku was gone. Then Goku comes back to Earth, and all he wants to do in the tournament is to fight him and prove that he is the better fighter. When Goku faced Yakon, he noticed how strong Goku had become. Vegeta still has evil in his heart, and Deborah saw it. He made Babidi take control of him, and Vegeta decided to let it happen, because he wanted to fight Goku more than anything else. He had gotten too soft on Earth with his family. Vegeta became obsessed with his pride as a Saiyan as a result of Babidi's control, and he reverted back to becoming a ruthless villain who massacred hundreds of people. After taunting Goku for a while, Goku eventually agrees to a match. Goku and Majin Vegeta are then teleported to a remote mountain area where they fight. Majin Vegeta explains to Goku that he purposely let Babidi possess him in order for his evilness to re-emerge. This is one of the strongest story arcs in the Buu saga, although it doesn't translate that well into gameplay, due to the absence of difficulty. While Goku and Vegeta are fighting, the Supreme Kai and Gohan go in search of Majin Buu's egg thing, hoping to prevent him from being resurrected. The game alternates between fights and cutscenes, but because we are so powerful, the gameplay segments are only a few seconds long, which really disrupts the flow. It also makes Majin Vegeta appear lackluster, as we can easily slap him around. Gohan manages to destroy the egg thing with a Kamehameha, which is now turned back to being yellow for some reason. But it was all in vain, as Majin Buu emerges anyway. Majin Buu prances around in a childish manner. Deborah makes the mistake of underestimating Buu, and he is attacked by the lump of lard.
Oh fuck, I can't believe you've done this.
When Majin Buu appears, Goku and Vegeta sense his power, and Goku begs Vegeta to postpone their battle. Even after being told that Majin Buu will kill everyone, including his family, Vegeta refuses and claims he no longer cares about them. But Goku chastises him for lying. Realizing the danger of Majin Buu, Vegeta decides to stop the fight by informing Goku that he has won so they can go find Majin Buu, but tricks Goku into letting down his guard and hits him from behind, knocking him out. As Vegeta, we rush back to Babidi's ship. We are just retreating our steps from earlier, and none of the enemies have changed, so we can just smash our way through the area with ease. It's actually really fun playing as Majin Vegeta, as you get to stay in the Super Saiyan 2 form permanently. This also means that you have an extra ki gauge to work with. Although ki attacks in this game are very underpowered in comparison to your melee attacks, and I almost never felt the need to use them. The best use I found for them was to push back enemies to give you a little space, as they do have a tendency to bum rush you. While making our way to the ship, Buu turns Deborah into a cupcake. Yes, this is Buu's special power. The ability to turn people into sweets and devouring them. Yum. Hey, at least Krillin and Piccolo are back to normal. Vegeta finally arrives and we get to fight Buu in the first of many, many fights. This fight is more confusing than hard. It's also really annoying because Buu is invulnerable for most of it. You have to wait for Babidi to land on the ground so you can attack him, and then you can damage Buu. It's so stupid that you can't even fire Ki blasts at Babidi while he's in the air. I mean, the one opportunity they had to make the Ki blasts useful, and they don't do it. After Trunks saves Vegeta from one of Buu's attacks, Vegeta decides the only way to destroy Buu is to sacrifice himself. Vegeta holds his son close and tells him how proud he is of him, before knocking him and Goten out. He leaves him in Piccolo's care and then uses Final Explosion in an attempt to kill Majin Buu.
Trunks, Bulma, I do this for you. And yes, even for you, Kakarot.
My knee! Damn it!
For whatever reason during this scene, Vegeta has reverted back to normal and is no longer in his Majin form. It must have just been an oversight. Despite the limitations of the GBA, I think they did a pretty good job of depicting the power of this attack. Sadly, Majin Buu is able to regenerate and heal Babidi from Piccolo's attack, making the same prince's sacrifice futile. This is by far the best moment in the Majin Buu saga, in my opinion. It shows so much depth to Vegeta's character. Eventually he learns the errors of his ways, but by that point it was too late and he gladly pays the ultimate price to protect his family. This is why I'd love to see a game focused around Vegeta, because he's just a way more interesting character than Goku, in my opinion. But my opinion is right. With Vegeta dead and Gohan missing, it is up to the young Trunks and Goten to defeat Buu. Sounds like a great idea. Put the burden of the world on a 7 and 8-year-old. Such a hero. Goku thinks that the only way they will stand a chance is if they learn the fusion technique. But before we learn that, Goku sends us to find the 7 Dragon Balls, as we will need them to wish back the people killed by Majin Buu. You'd think that this probably isn't the best time to be going on a treasure hunt. This does, however, help give the player a bit of a break from the heavy amount of cutscenes we have been reading through. And this is where I get to talk about the overworld exploration, which was present in the last game and was done rather well. But for whatever reason, instead of choosing to improve upon it, they made it worse. In the Legacy of Goku 2, there are little icons that you could see on the map, so you could easily see where you could land. But instead of having icons floating above the locations, either have them on the ground where they're hard to see and you have to descend down to, which makes it look like your character's grown into a giant, or they just have nothing and you just need to know that the location is there. I have no idea why they thought this was a good idea. The Scouter, just like in the last game, can be used to scan NPCs for information, but it is most useful for its map feature. But where it would be most useful, on the overworld map, it can't be accessed. When I first started to play the game, I genuinely thought that there were just no extra areas that you could go to. The exploration in the early game is extremely limited. Almost all of the areas are cut off either because you don't have the character or your level is way too low. There are aircrafts and boats that you can land on and fight some goons, but these are just one screen areas and are only good for earning a bit of extra XP and Zenny. To make finding the Dragon Balls easier, we get the Dragon Radar from Bulma. Instead of the locations being marked with a star like in the second game, you have to actually follow the directions of the radar. When the arrows are purple, that is the direction you need to fly in. When the center turns red, you're in the right spot. You'll have to do various tasks in order to find the Dragon Balls, from fighting mummies in an ancient tomb, taking on a bunch of ninjas, and stopping a train hijacking. We even get to take a Dragon Ball from Pilaf. You can collect the Dragon Balls in any order apart from the 4-star Dragon Ball, which will always be collected last. In order to obtain it, we must defeat the legendary Super Saiyan Broly. Oh, he's already dead. You see what I mean about the difficulty just ruining moments? Returning to Capsule Court with the Dragon Balls, Shenron is summoned and the victims of Buu are wished back to life, except for the bad ones, which means Vegeta ain't coming back. Thanks, Yamcha.
Why are you even here?
Goku interrupts and the second wish is never made, saving it for later. Back at the lookout, Goku proceeds to teach Trunks and Goten how to fuse. Meanwhile, Babidi and Buu are causing chaos, trying to draw out the remaining Z fighters. The Karen from before ends up turning them in,
I'm putting you on citizen's arrest.
and this forces Goku to confront them, just to buy some time. And this is the first time we get to use the Super Saiyan 3 transformation, and just like in the source material, it's shit. It takes too long to activate, and once it is, it does not last very long. You have to already be in Super Saiyan form to turn Super Saiyan 3. You can't just go straight to 3. The buffs it gives you just isn't worth it. Once the gauge runs down, and it runs down fast, you will be back in your base form. Don't sacrifice your eyebrows for this form. Goku reverts to his normal state, conceding that he cannot defeat Majin Buu, and asking Babidi to wait 2 days without harming anyone so Trunks and Goten can finish their training and face Majin Buu. Babidi refuses, but Majin Buu is eager, so Goku departs to the lookout. Babidi chastises Majin Buu for allowing Goku to flee, but Majin Buu, tired of Babidi, kills the wizard.
Oh, fuck. I can't believe you've done this.
The Super Saiyan 3 transformation has decreased Goku's time on Earth, so when he arrives at the lookout, it is already too late, as fortune teller Baba tells Goku that his 24 hours are up. He must go back to the other world, and Piccolo picks up the training where he left off. Goku tells the others that he will find Gohan in the other world. Goten and Trunks continue their training. In order to fuse, you must hit a button sequence correctly. If you screw it up, they will transform into an old man. Once we get it right, the overconfident Gotenks takes off to fight Buu, who is hanging out in a warehouse for some reason. Of course we beat him easily, and by beating him easily, the game pretends that we lost. With everything sort of going to shit for our heroes, Hercule is here to save the day. He goes to confront Buu, who has built himself a house. I know it sounds like I've just skipped ahead of it, but this is actually how it plays out. Goku has returned to the other world and goes in search of Vegeta in Hell. HFIL.
Home for infinite losers.
Buu's Fury has a great presentation. It has some really unique areas that you get to travel through. The environments are nicely detailed and do a pretty decent job at conveying scale on such limited hardware. All of the characters move fluidly, and the Ki Blasts, as useless as they are, look the best out of all 3 games. I mean, look at this dragon. As always, I enjoy the Bruce Faulkner music, and like always, I am going to complain a bit about the character portraits. The overwhelming majority look great. They look very close to their original designs. That is apart from Vegeta. There is just something about it that looks off. I'm struggling to convey what I mean, but his features look too soft. I don't know, it's just not quite right. Despite all of the issues I have with this game, I do think it is the best looking in the series. Speaking of Vegeta, we managed to find him in Hell. HFIL. Meanwhile, Majin Buu adopts a puppy. Yay! But then it gets shot. No! But don't worry, Buu heals the puppy. Yay! Hercule has managed to befriend Buu, and has even convinced him to give up killing. There is no doubt that you are starting to notice that this story is sort of all over the place, and this is not the game's fault. This is all coming from the anime that the game is trying to follow. Although the next part is a bit of a departure from the Buu saga, as we are moving back into movie territory and taking on the demon Janemba. While travelling through Hell, or whatever it's called.
Welcome to Heck, a friendly community.
There is this annoying hand that keeps appearing and punching us in the face. This is Janemba, who we can face after breaking through Vegeta's level gate. Pikkon is lying on the ground after he failed to stop the demon. The first phase of the fight is nothing special. He's very large, so he's kind of hard to miss. Once this phase is over, he will transform and quickly take out Vegeta. Now it's Goku's turn, but he is unable to finish him off, according to the cutscene that is. In game, this fight is very easy. With no other options, Goku and Vegeta fuse into Gogeta. Now, unfortunately this doesn't unlock the fusion to use at any time, but the fusion can be unlocked if you are able to find all 15 Z Fighter exhibits and all 25 Hercule exhibits, which are just collectibles that are located all throughout the game. Once they are all found and returned to the exhibits, you'll be able to turn into Gogeta as either Goku or Vegeta. You have to perform the button sequence in order to fuse, and the fusion only lasts for 5 minutes. I say only 5 minutes, but that is actually a pretty decent amount of time, to be honest. This is a way better reward than the Hercule character unlocked from the second game. But like with most completionist rewards, there just isn't really much to do once you have it. The game is over. You've done everything. Maybe it does have some uses in multiplayer, but I didn't have a way to play any of the multiplayer modes, so I don't know. And I won't be going over the multiplayer in this video because I don't know anything about it. Once Janemba is defeated, Goku goes to talk to King Yama to see if he can locate his son Gohan. He senses Gohan on the sacred world of the Kais. Buu and Hercule are playing house when Hercule is attacked. Buu is able to heal Hercule, but he is so enraged that he splits into two beings. The Grey Buu is the embodiment of all of the evil within Buu. Fat Buu fires the transfiguration beam at Evil Buu, but Evil Buu simply deflects it back at him. Fat Buu is turned into a lolly and quickly eaten by Evil Buu, who then transforms into the incredibly powerful Super Buu. How many times did I say Buu in that paragraph? There's a lot of Boos. Teleporting to the sacred world of the Kais, Goku finds Gohan training with the Kais and with a sword. And no, we don't get to fight with a sword, okay? As part of his training, Gohan had to pull the Z sword from the stone to gain tremendous power. You have to play this button mashing minigame to pull it out. I hate button mashing minigames, because I'm bad at them. Now I know I'm starting to sound very unenthusiastic about what is going on, because I am. This is where the story really starts to drag, and I mean really drag. So I'm going to be going a bit quicker through these next few events, and you'll understand why very soon. While Gohan is still finishing up his training on the Kai planet, it's up to Trunks and Goten to stop Super Buu. They head into the hyperbolic time chamber just to give them a little bit more time, but Buu gets impatient and kills pretty much everyone and barges in anyway, so they end up fighting. Goten loses because he is an annoying little brat and doesn't use his full power, so they get stuck in the hyperbolic time chamber, but not really, and they escape basically straight away. Now we fight Buu again as Super Saiyan 3, and the lookout gets destroyed. We fly down to fight Buu again, but the fusion runs out. Gohan, having achieved his ultimate form, rushes to Earth to stop Buu. We fight Buu as Gohan now, but then Buu blows himself up. We run to go find him, but we are blocked by a level gate and the world is destroyed. The end. Okay, so that's not how it ends, but what a way to break what little tension the game had. Leveling up a bit, we get through the gate. Trunks and Goten fuse again, but they, along with Piccolo, get absorbed by Buu, making him much more stronger than before. Because he is even stronger than Gohan's ultimate form, Goku returns to Earth with the Patara earrings, which allows for a permanent fusion. Goku throws Gohan one of the earrings, but Gohan misses the catch. When trying to find the earring, Gohan is absorbed by Buu, who becomes even more powerful. Realizing the desperate situation, King Yama and the fortune teller Baba have granted Vegeta a one-day pass back to Earth to fight Buu. Goku senses Vegeta and teleports to Vegeta's location.
Thank God you're here. Where have you been, bitch?
And fortune teller Baba discovers that Goku is back on Earth again, with Goku telling her that he came back to life thanks to old Kai's sacrifice, which I didn't mention, but yeah, that's how Goku gets back to life. Vegeta refuses to fuse with Goku and goes to face Super Buu. So much shit happens within this chapter, but none of it really matters, it just jerks you around. Vegeta has failed, so Goten is going to beat Buu. Nope, Gohan, nope, wait, Goku and Gohan are going to fuse. Actually, forget about Gohan, but wait, what about Goku and Vegeta fusing? Just make up your damn mind. It is so draining have to play through all this shit. There's just no focus and it feels like none of the fights matter. Now again, I must stress this is not all the game's fault. This is what happens in the source material. But still, this is what is in the game. And this trend doesn't end here. Goku attempts to persuade Vegeta to fuse with him, but Vegeta angrily refuses as he is mad at Goku for holding back his Super Saiyan 3 transformation during their previous fight. Goku then informs him that Buu has murdered Bulma and absorbed Trunks. This shocks Vegeta, and he reluctantly accepts to fuse, even if it means being stuck with Goku for the rest of his life. I think I'd rather die. No. Goku and Vegeta then use the Potara to fuse into Vegeto. Exciting, we get to play as Vegeto, but only for one fight. And like most fights, it lasts all of 30 seconds. Despite Vegeto being more than capable of killing Buu, they fuck around too much and end up getting absorbed. For a reason that is never explained, Buu doesn't actually gain any of Vegeto's powers, and Goku and Vegeta end up splitting up, even though it was just established that the fusion would be permanent. Why even bother introducing the permanence of a fusion if you're just going to go back on it 10 minutes later? Again, not the game's fault, but still annoying. We must travel through Buu's insides, entering various orifices to get to his brain. Along the way we find all the fighters that had also been absorbed by Buu. Super Buu, realizing what is going on, sends a mental image of himself to stop us. Another fight against Super Buu commences, again, which feels like the millionth time. They defeat him and free everyone that was absorbed, and quickly escape out of a hole. Not gonna specify what hole, but it is dark, like the other side of the moon. Since all who were absorbed were removed, Super Buu returns to his original form, Kid Buu. We then get a little backstory of what occurred between Buu and the Kais. Buu made their way to the sacred world of the Kai and proceeded to kill 3 of the Kais. While protecting the Supreme Kai, the Grand Supreme Kai gets absorbed, which transforms Kid Buu into the childish Fat Buu. Due to the innocence of the Grand Supreme Kai, this Buu was much less evil. Much less evil. Does that sentence make sense? I think it does. I'm going to leave it in. The game gives us an option to go gain some levels before facing off against Kid Buu, but I don't think that will be necessary. Having a temper tantrum, Kid Buu completely obliterates Earth. Well, shit. Goku, Vegeta, Hercule and Dende manage to make it to the Kai planet while everyone else perishes. Vegeta scolds Goku for causing the untimely deaths of their kids and friends, adding that the Earth Dragon Balls have been destroyed and there is no way to recover them. Dende and the Supreme Kai then recall that the Namekian Dragon Balls are still functioning, so they teleport there to find them. For the final fight against Buu, we will be swapping frequently between fighting as Vegeta and then fighting as Goku. It really messes up the pacing of the fight. You get like 30 seconds of gameplay and then back to reading through a bunch of text boxes. Eventually Vegeta falls, so Hercule of all people steps in to challenge Kid Buu. But Kid Buu finds himself unable to attack his former friend. He then spits out Fat Buu. Fat Buu saves Hercule and begins fighting Kid Buu. Meanwhile on New Namek, Dende uses the Dragon Balls to wish back Earth and her inhabitants. Vegeta then reveals his plan to defeat Kid Buu, a super spirit bomb produced from the energy of the people of Earth. So forget about the Super Saiyan 3 nonsense and the fusions introduced in the saga. We are going with a spirit bomb. Thanks. I hate it. Vegeta must keep Kid Buu at bay in order for Goku to gather energy. As a result, I spent a few minutes running around in a circle. Screw it. I'm over this. Unfortunately, only a few people Goku has already assisted are willing to give up their energy, until Hercule tells everyone to give up their energy so he can battle Kid Buu. With everyone's faith in him, they finally direct their energy towards the Spirit Bomb. The Spirit Bomb is finished, but Kid Buu has defeated Vegeta, who is now too weak to move. So Hercule grabs Vegeta and moves him out of the way. Goku throws the Spirit Bomb, but Kid Buu is able to stop the Spirit Bomb and deflect it back towards Goku. This part is really confusing because there are 2 Kid Buus. I think the one that is standing next to Vegeta and Hercule is supposed to be Fat Buu, but the game is using the wrong sprite. It's actually kind of funny. Vegeta asks Dende to make one last wish, restore Goku's strength. Goku then transforms into a Super Saiyan and launches the Spirit Bomb towards Kid Buu. We have to do a little battle mashing before the Spirit Bomb engulfs Kid Buu. As Kid Buu's body disintegrates, Goku hopes that he will come back as a good person, and they can have a rematch. The end. But not really. After the main story is complete, you're free to fly around and finish up side missions, etc. But if we go to Capsule Court, we can view the ending. All of Goku's friends and family are there celebrating the defeat of Kid Buu. It has been 10 years since the defeat of Majin Buu. Gohan and Videl got married and had a daughter named Pan. And I must say, Gohan and Videl don't look like they have aged a bit over the years. Gohan is even wearing his high school uniform. At the 28th World Martial Arts Tournament, the Z fighters meet a 10-year-old boy called Oob. This young man is the reincarnation of Kid Buu, the result of Goku's wish before he killed Kid Buu. Goku decides to abandon his family to train Oob because he is just a swell guy, even though he could easily just stay with his family and also train Oob, but nah. Why be a good father and grandfather when you can do what you want? Yeah, just fuck off. Dragon Ball Z Buu's Fury feels like an improvement in some ways and a bit of a step back in others. The controls and character customization is the best in the trilogy. There are more transformations and more moves for you to utilise, but it is very unbalanced. Instead of fixing the issues with the leveling system from the last title, this game double downs on them, making grinding mandatory with the side effect of destroying the difficulty. It's too easy, even for me, and I suck. But the thing that lets this game down the most is the source material. The story is badly paced, it's constantly jerking you around, making it feel like half of what you do doesn't even matter. And it seems that the majority of your game time is spent reading through text boxes. I found Buu's Fury to be rather disappointing. I did really enjoy the gameplay, it is the best in the series, but everything surrounding it is just worse than the second game. I'm honestly kind of bummed out by it. I was really expecting this game to be like really good, but it wasn't. Okay, I'm done for the day. Bye. Thanks for watching.